And now is
Been a
the
lot.
hardest part of every one of these podcasts that we'll be doing is like, now we should talk about video games.
All right, Brad, hit us with a segue.
Oh boy, I don't
Play the
what?
music.
How do I even I asked you guys before we came in here, like, did you even play anything this week?
Yeah.
Because I sure as hell didn't. I had a couple things lined up I thought I was going to get into over the weekend.
I just thought of something that I didn't tell you I played, but I actually played some literally moments before starting this that has been a relief to me in a very strange way during COVID in general, and now that it's back during this week as well, which is Valorant is back. Valorant today. Ben and I have played some.
Did it go down? Did they take it down for a while? Or
Yeah,
between the end of the beta was what, Ben, Friday?
I think so.
And now it's back up worldwide. I like that game a lot more than I that's not the gamer I am. You know me. I'm like stories, RPGs, open worlds, but I poured so much time into Valorant over the last month. I think that game, and also, let me just say, I've had some issues with Riot before in the past. And I've actually talked about why I'm still playing this game, despite that over on Waypoint Radio a few weeks ago at this point. But that game is like a really good shooter. I've not played a CSGO or a CS style shooter in probably a decade. But I think that the balance between like player or character abilities, the map design, like all that stuff has just clicked for me so well.
The abilities are really fine-tuned to a degree that I did not appreciate when I first started playing, especially because I came at it. I mean, they were very vocal up front about like, okay, this is not Overwatch. This is not a game you can win with tactical ability use. You still have to be able to shoot a gun at the end of the day. Like, you still have to hit your shots. But even with that kind of caveat going in, I'm like, okay, but they have classes, right? Like, these are the support characters, and maybe I can just play support and I don't really have to be good with the gun. No, fact, you got to shoot.
The best support character is maybe also the most, like, not difficult, but like, you got to be good with her to use her.
Yes. Turns out the best way to support your team is covering your areas, hitting your corners, like, watching exits and stuff. But as I played more, I've been playing almost exclusively as Raze, who's kind of the like demolitions character. She's got like a rocket launcher ult, but
she's a Junkrat.
Yeah. And she has like sticky packs, you can put it down, you can like rocket jump off of them, and then you start playing more and you realize like, okay, I can actually get some really good verticality with these and like just dive in from above and hit two people with a rocket, or she has a little remote, like it's called the boom bot. It'll go out in straight lines and you can like have that bounce off of the rocket packs and all this stuff. And it only like, I looked at the character's abilities when I first loaded it up. I'm like, these don't really seem that interesting. But when you play it, when you start to learn, when you learn the maps and you learn the angles and you learn like how tight you have to be with your movement and your usages and stuff, it kind of comes into cohesion a little better.
How many characters are we talking?
It's 11. 11 at launch.
So
they added a new one.
Not a MOBA number then.
Not yet, right? The Boombot's like a great example of an ability that you look at and you're like, oh, okay, cool. And then after you put 20 hours into that character, you start to see all the different use cases for it.
Yeah.
It's like a Roomba, or it's sort of like a Roomba.
Sort of like a Roomba. It travels in straight lines.
Yeah, it goes in a straight line. Or it's like the DVD logo that bounces when it hits something, except when it runs into an enemy, it blows up. And at first you're like, oh, I guess I could just like throw this when I see an enemy, and that way it'll go to where the enemy is, it'll blow up. But what you end up realizing is like, oh no, this is about controlling a space. Yeah. This is about if I have to go around a corner, I can send the Boombot in first, and it makes a certain reaction noise and charges when its sensors see an enemy. So it's like you kind of lead it in there, it sees someone or it doesn't, and if it doesn't, that means it's a safe corner to go take, right? Yeah. And you only get, one of those around, Ben? And so it's like, okay, where do I spend that resource? When should I use this thing that probably won't win me a fight, but will give me confidence that a corner is safe, or where I can slow someone down if they're pushing at us. They have to stop and deal with this Boombot first.
I was definitely like way overusing it when I first started playing her, because I'm like, okay, I'm on defense and I have to defend long B, right? Like a big like long entrance
hallway, basically. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I run up there, I wait 5 seconds, and I launch my Boombot. It's like, well, that's going to maybe catch somebody if they're rushing, but most teams play it a little slower, or if they all went to the other site, it's going to be completely useless. So it's, sorry, I just got a low disk space notification.
Uh-oh.
Well, hey, you know what? I didn't want to say anything, but I'm just going to tell you that's not the first production difficulty we've had since we started this.
Oh, good.
We'll get into that off after the break starts. I don't know if this is a.
I got a backup.
Oh, right. God bless you, Austin Walker. I don't know if this is even a meaningful distinction or not, but like, is this game more of a CS than a Call of Duty? Like,
Yes.
because I have
Yes.
not, because I have not played Counter-Strike in like, I'm not trying to make myself sound old, but probably 20 years. Like, I'd definitely since not since way before Call of Duty became a thing, right? And so I'm trying to think in my mind, like, are those actually that different? Like, what are the distinctions that you see in this game there?
It's been very interesting, I think, because I thought the same thing at first, and I got into it and I was like, oh, no, this is a different game. I'd say the things that make it like Call of Duty, the time to death is still pretty short. Like a gunfight, a 1v1 will leave one of you dead most of the time, unless you're both peeking and like quickly retreating, but even then, most of the time. And I think other than that, it feels like a different game.
Yeah, I've been playing not a lot. I've been playing a little bit of Warzone here and there. And I would say like the major distinctions are, for a Call of Duty, it's like, okay, let's move with the squad and everyone's keeping an eye out and we're all going to be observant. And if we see something, we're all going to move together or we're going to like tactically split up. Valorant, since it's attack and defense, right? Like, okay, on the attack side, well, in both cases, you're usually splitting off into smaller squads. You have your individual responsibility, but you have to be able to rotate. Like, it's more of a, I don't know, it's more of like using, like, as soon as you get one kill, it's a huge advantage. Like, a 4v5 is miles easier than a 5v5. Like, a 5v3 is almost guaranteed, but like, you know, it's one of those things of just like, it's I'd say a little more tactical than Call of Duty, where Call of Duty is a little more reflexive. I guess.
So like imagine in Call of Duty, and again, I haven't played high level Call of Duty, and my suspicion is at high levels this is different, especially in certain objective based modes. But when I played Call of Duty, I was basically playing team deathmatch. I was basically playing like point control type stuff, which is objective based, but not quite like this, where this is more like it's like Counter-Strike, where it's like there is a round. That round is going to last 3 minutes. Someone is going to win that round, and we're going to move on to the next round, right? And the way that works is, okay, you and your team are going to try to get onto a point. The enemy team has like maybe 2 people at point A, 3 people at point B. I decide like, okay, let's try to go point A. I'll drop some smoke bombs down from a satellite above, because that's the thing my character can do. That'll give us enough cover to quickly rush onto the point. Someone can plant the bomb there. If we're good, we'll have a 3 or 4v2, and we can take those 2 people out. And then everyone stop and pick your angle. Everyone watch one of the doorways in, right? And at that point, you're almost more like Rainbow Six Siege, but there are smaller maps than that.
Oh,
just keep these production difficulties rolling.
Dramatic pause.
It was a good place to stop. It was a nice,
and
clean,
it's really good.
Nice clean break here. And it sounds like the game's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Austin, if you can hear us, we can no longer hear you.
His icon turned gray.
Yeah, I think his
connection has turned to ash.
Oh no!
Boy. They have salted the internet line where it lays.
Valorant, Ben.
Well,
pick it up.
I'll say one other thing about Valorant, and if Austin was still here with us, he'd be able to help me out. But like, I think the most annoying thing to come in as a new player to Valorant is not what I initially thought, which would be like, okay, what are all the different hero abilities? Like, I'm going to be like, oh, I died. What did I die to? It's all this other stuff like that. No, it's all the stupid little names for all the different points on the map. There's Connector, Heaven, Hookah.
Wait, what?
You have to know like all the stupid little names for the room, so you can call out like there's 2 in Spawn. Okay, Spawn's easy. But
as someone who works on the floor of an office building where all the meeting room names are named after Star Wars planets, that sounds like a fucking nightmare.
Yeah,
just call them Alpha and Beta and Gamma.
Bro, but so that's the thing, because you have those dedicated sites are like A and B, but then like there's 5 little ways that somebody can make their way from A to B, and you have to be able to tell somebody like in an instant they are in Hookah, which is the room that has a hookah in it, I guess, or they are in Heaven.
Oh, so it's not actual
okay.
designated names on the map.
Okay,
it's
yes,
like landmark stuff. All right,
yeah. And so like when you start I've only played this game with like full stacks of other people. I'm not solo queuing into any Valorant games, and sometimes those games are led by somebody who knows what they're doing, knows what they're talking about, making a lot of calls, which is great because I could use the help. I don't know tactically what to do. But they're also like, okay, 3 move to hookah, and I'm just sitting there like, man, what? I just disagree with it on a fundamental level because I think it's a stupid name.
Austin, welcome back.
Hi.
I'm not gonna. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna redo these crops.
Yeah, I would like to know.
Ben, you're now Austin. Austin, you're now Vinny.
Sweet.
Incredible.
Jan is Ben. Vinny is Jan.
Incredible.
Okay. I guess.
I got my hair back.
Oh man, and what a head of hair.
Oh, incredible.
Welcome back.
What happened?
Are
Are we still going? Are we just?
We were going. I was just talking about how dumb the names for all the rooms in Valor.
Oh, did you talk about hookah? There's
we talked about hookah for sure.
You know, there used to be it used to be hookahs in there. That's why it's called hookah.
That's what I assumed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Some people try to call it carpets, but like lots of rooms have carpets, bud. Okay.
Like that to me kind of says this game's really like doing it for people. If they are coming up with like cutesy like twee names for elements in the game, then like it's happening, right? Like Valorant is a thing.
Have they changed anything major since going from beta to final release?
Do you define what you mean by major?
Well, you said they added a character.
Okay, so yes, they've added. I mean, there's a new map.
Okay.
Like straight up a whole new map, which is a big deal because it's not quite a MOBA where there's one map most of the time, but there'd only been 3 maps previously. They're very like fine tuned to be to give players advantages in different ways. So like that's a big deal to be like, here's a whole new one.
Yeah.
They changed something on Split, I want to say, not the one that's 2 that doesn't have teleporters.
Got it. Yeah.
The middle air. This is so inside baseball, but I'm going to say it anyway. In the mid spot where there's like where vents.
Am I an attacker or am I on
You're
defender?
an attacker. You're an attacker. There's a ramp that goes up a little bit, and then there's a hallway to the right, and then there's left. It can lead to heaven. It can lead to heaven on the left. Heaven is a common phrase in this game that means like a position above a point. So it's like there's points A and points B, and if there's like a balcony looking over it, that's heaven. No matter what the map is, that's heaven, right?
Wow,
that's heaven to me. Yeah. We talk about that as being heaven, which is fun.
That's fun.
And then, so before there was a place, again, Ben, you're with me, you're in this hallway. The right side is vents, the left side is heaven. There used to be a wall in front of vents so that the person you could kind of move out and hide behind that wall on defense. That wall's gone. That wall is just 100% gone now.
Oh, man.
Which is huge. And it's
huge.
Like no one who hasn't played this game, or everyone who hasn't played this game thinks that I sound like a madman, I'm sure. It's
like moving the shrines in Dota. It's the equivalent of just like, oh my god, that's a game changer when you're really just like it's the most minor thing that somebody who never played would never be able to look at the 2 pictures and be like, what's the difference?
What are you fucking talking about?
I love when you said that Dota reference. I was also like, oh yeah. Wait, they moved the shrines. What do you?
I mean, here's another one.
You can't move heaven. Wait, what?
This one's maybe more easy to understand. Sage, who is the one healing character, the one character who can heal other players, had her healing orb cooldown increased from 35 seconds to 45 seconds.
Okay.
That's a big change.
That's a pretty big one.
To be like, okay, guess what? She's still a healer. She's still a great healer because there are no other ones.
Yeah, I was gonna say it makes sense because she was in every game. You would pretty much always have a Sage.
Yes, exactly.
My last question about this, especially with all this weird ass jargon and stuff, are you guys doing the pub pickup game thing, or are you only playing with friends? Because this sounds like kind of a nightmare with randos.
I'm only 5 stacking, or if I have like one friend who really wants to play.
Yeah, I do my best to 5 stack, which is just five people on each team. Partially because I think that communication helps so much. The ability to be like, hey, we all have the same jargon, even if we don't all use. Maybe we have a piece of jargon that's unique to us, that's important. And it's just good to be able to say, okay, what are we doing next round? And trust that someone isn't going to be like, well, I'd be doing better if I got to play as Jet, but you picked Jet. Like, all right, cool. Well, I guess we're going to lose next round is the thing that you want to do. The other thing is...
It really is Dota.
Yeah, it really... The other thing is, it turns out, even in 2020, would you believe it, there are jerks on the internet. There are racists and homophobes on the internet. It's not great. I know that Riot has, report systems in place and stuff like that. But if I can avoid pub games, I avoid pub games. There's a new mode, actually, that is probably better for pub games called Blitz Rush or something like that. Blitz something.
Blitz League.
splits the league. It's called
Mhm.
Spike Rush, and it's all right. So you have to understand most of these games are first to 13 rounds, which means a match can go 25 rounds. Right? It can go that long. I've had those games. Those rounds are between, let's say, 60 seconds and 3 minutes, between 1 and 3 minutes. And it's one person has a bomb on the offensive team, and you're kind of moving really slow. Spike Rush is everyone has a bomb.
Okay.
You don't buy guns or abilities. There's no buying phase. You just get everyone gets the same random weapon. And there are special orbs around the map that give you bonuses, like a better weapon, or they poison the enemy team. It's like a very arcadey version of it, and then you play first to four rounds. And so it's like a really good drop-in, try out a gun you would avoid normally, because like, I'm not good at sniping. I'm not going to spend my in-game money on my like per match money on a sniper rifle. I'm going to get killed. But in this mode, it's cool to be like, oh wow, I guess I'm going to use the operator because that's what everyone's using this round. Let me try it out.
Oh, you mean the op?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It is literally, Brad. It is the op. Everyone calls it the op. They just drop that W out and move it over from the op to the op.
You know what? I got to give it to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bold. That's the audacity is something I can admire. For sure. Yep.
It's weird because Riot doesn't have a history of doing this sort of thing.
No, definitely not.